All right, welcome back everyone. Today, we're going to get our hands dirty with a really powerful combo, installing the open source Proxmox hypervisor on some serious enterprise-grade Cisco UCS hardware. If you're trying to squeeze every last drop of juice out of your servers and get the most value, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's dive right in.
So you might be asking, why this combo specifically? Well, this quote from a Cisco employee really hits the nail on the head. The reality is, the data center world is changing. More and more of us are on the hunt for virtualization that's both powerful and doesn't break the bank. And it turns out, putting Proxmox on this battle-tested Cisco hardware is a total winning formula.
Now, if you're not super familiar with Proxmox VE, here's the quick rundown. It's this awesome, all-in-one open-source virtualization platform. It's built on the rock-solid foundation of Debian Linux, and it uses two killer technologies: KVM for your full-blown virtual machines, and LXC for these super lightweight and fast containers. It really is like a virtualization Swiss Army knife. And the best part? The price tag is zero. Can't beat that.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the why, what makes this pairing so great. Then we'll jump into getting everything ready, walk through the actual installer step by step, take care of some super important stuff after the install, and then, for the grand finale, we'll build our very first cluster.
All right, let's kick things off. Section 1. Why even bother putting Proxmox on UCS? What's the big deal?
Okay, the number one thing to know here is compatibility. And honestly, this is huge. With the latest versions of Proxmox, the drivers for Cisco's network cards, their VICs, are just included. They work right out of the box. No more hunting for drivers, no more manual installs, which, if you've ever had to do that, you know it's a massive headache saver. Now, one super important heads up on support. Cisco's main support, TAC, doesn't officially cover the Proxmox hypervisor yet, so if you run into an OS issue, you'll need to reach out to Promox or one of their partners for help. Just something to keep in mind.
Okay, so we've covered the why. Now it's time to get into the how. Let's talk prep work.
Getting ready is actually pretty simple. Just three key things. First, obviously, you got to download the Proxmox ISO image. Then, and this is a major pro tip, trust me, don't just mount it from your laptop. That's going to be painfully slow. The smart way to do it is to host that ISO file on a local web server or an NFS or SMB share. The speed difference is night and day. And last but not least, you just need to tell the UCS server where to look. So you'll pop into the boot policy and set it to boot from that ISO we just set up.
All right, prep is done. Time for the main event. Let's fire up that server and walk through the installer.
So, the server boots up from the ISO and bam! This is the first screen you'll see. You've got a couple of choices here, but we're going to stick with the Install Proxmox V option, which is the terminal-based installer. It's straightforward, super fast, and honestly, it just works.
All right, next up, where do you want to install Proxmox itself? Now remember, this is just for the hypervisor's operating system, not for your virtual machines. For this setup, we're putting it on Dev SDA, which is actually a RAID 1 mirror we set up earlier using two M.2 drives. That way, our OS is redundant. It's a really good practice to get into.
Okay, next is the easy stuff, localization. You just pick your country, your time zone, and your keyboard layout. But here's a little piece of advice I always give. For any server, seriously, just use UTC for the time zone. It makes life so much easier later when you're trying to read log files from a bunch of different machines. It standardizes everything. You'll thank yourself later.
Now pay attention because this next screen is absolutely critical. This is where we set up the network. This is how we're going to talk to the server after it's installed. So you need to give it a proper host name, a static IP, a gateway, and your DNS server. Take a second, double check everything here. Getting this right now saves you a massive headache later.
And we've made it to the final summary screen. This is your last chance to look everything over. Check the disk, check the location settings, and triple check that network config. Once you click that install button, there's no going back. It's going to start writing to the disk.
So the installer finishes, the server reboots, and we're done, right? Not quite. The installation is just the first part. Now we need to log into the web UI and do a few essential first-time setup tasks.
Okay, so you open your browser, you log in for the first time, and you're greeted with this pop-up: no valid subscription. First thing, don't panic. This is totally normal for a lab or a non-production setup. And actually, it's the perfect reminder of our very first job. We need to configure the system updates.
So how do we fix that and get our updates? It's super easy. You're just going to click on your server, then go to Updates, and then Repositories.
From there, you'll click Add and choose the No Subscription repository. Then, and this is important, you have to disable the enterprise one that's enabled by default. Click Reload, then pop back over to the Updates tab, hit Refresh, and you'll see a whole bunch of updates ready to go. Just click Upgrade and let it do its thing.
And check this out. The proof is in the pudding. On the left is where we started, version 9.1.1, and on the right, after the update, we're all the way up to 9.1.5. This is so important. You're not just getting new features, you're getting all the latest security patches, which is a must.
Now you might notice there's still a little warning message hanging around. Again, don't worry about that for our setup. It's just a reminder that this No Subscription repository isn't recommended for production environments where you'd want paid support. The important thing is that green check mark next to the status. That tells us that everything worked, and our system can now pull in updates just fine.
All right, our first server is installed, patched, and ready to go. But where's the fun in just one? Now it's time for the really cool part. We're going to create a cluster, which is what unlocks awesome features like high availability and migrating live VMs between servers.
You'd think creating a cluster would be complicated, but it's honestly a breeze. On your first server, just go to the data center level, click on Cluster, and then Create Cluster. Give your cluster a name, and then you'll click Join Information and just copy all that text. Then you hop over to the web interface for your second server. Go to the same place, Data Center, Cluster, but this time you'll click Join Cluster. You just paste in that info you copied, type in the root password for the first server, and that's literally it.
And look at that. We did the same thing for a third server. And now we have a beautiful, fully functional 3-node cluster. It's all running on that awesome Cisco hardware. And maybe the best part is that it doesn't matter which server's IP you go to now, you can log into any of them and see and manage the entire cluster. It's all right there.
So there you have it. From bare metal hardware to a powerful, updated, multi-node cluster, all ready to go. We've built the foundation. Now the really fun part begins. The only question is, what are you going to build first?